Hey guys, this is Jackson. I'm here with an informational video for beginner flutists on how to make a sound, which flute to get, how to put the flute together, and just overall care for the flute. There are several flute brands that I would recommend getting. If you're not wanting to buy a new instrument, then getting a used one is perfectly fine. I know numerous flutists who started on used flutes. There's nothing wrong with starting out on a used flute. Actually, I would probably actually suggest a used flute because you don't really have to break it in. It's already broken in, and there might not be things that would be wrong with a used flute that would be wrong with a new one, and vice versa. So that's something to definitely take into consideration. Some of the brands I would recommend for a beginner flutist, Gemeinhardt is used in probably every school band in the country. It's very popular. They're sturdy, they're pretty much indestructible, they're built to last. So make sure that, whatever you do, you get a flute that's going to last for a long time. Another brand is Mendini by Cecilio, and this is not the Cecilio brand, but it's a cheaper version it's a beginner version of the Cecilio brand, which is Mendini by Cecilio. Okay, those are really good flutes. That's actually the flute that I started out on, which was like 4 years ago. 4 years ago. So that's a really good option too. They're very good flutes, sturdy flutes, and they come in a very wide range of colors. My flute was actually red, the one I bought. Another thing, make sure if you're a beginner flutist that you get your teacher or your band director or somebody to look at the flute before you purchase it. Okay, to make sure that it is a brand they want, to make sure that it is in working order. I would suggest bringing someone who plays the flute along with you if you're going to go to a music store and buy it. But that's just my prerogative on that. Another brand is Jupiter. Now, I would not buy a Jupiter flute unless it's the only option you have left. Otherwise, I would not buy it because Jupiter flutes, number one, their cases are not designed well. The flute looks like it's going to fall out of the case at all times. So, that's a big problem because typically you're in a hurry when you're taking it out, putting it up, and when you go slapping it in the case, it's liable to fall out, and it really juts out of the case. I wish that I had my Jupiter flute here with me, but I don't. I actually have a Jupiter at home. I'm not at home right now, but it's really a problem. And they're just not very good flutes in general when you could get something so much better. Make sure that if you are a beginner, your flute is closed hole, C foot joint. Do not buy an open hold flute if you're a beginner. I don't care if it has pegs or not, do not buy it because chances are you will lose the pegs and then it's going to be really difficult because you need to be focused on learning fingerings. We'll worry about tone and everything else later, okay? So, when you buy the flute you want and you make sure it works okay, now we're going to move on to making a sound on the flute. Now, the first thing that you need to learn is the embouchure. The embouchure is so critical for beginner flutists because you have to develop the embouchure before you can move on to anything else. So, you need to start out with your head joint, and I have mine here. Now, my flute is a professional open hold Star River model. So my head joint is completely silver. Actually, my entire flute is completely silver all the way out. These little things here, by the way, are called bow peps. And you can do research about those. They're just finger extensions, but they're really nice. You should really look into them. Especially for a beginner flutist because they really add support. Because beginner flutists' fingers typically are shorter, but you can use them even if you don't have short fingers. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So this is a professional flute, so it's open hold, and it has the B foot joint, and my G key is offset as well. And it has a gizmo at the end too. So yeah, it's completely silver. The head joint's completely silver, and the body and the foot is completely silver, all of it. So what I would suggest is probably checking the material before you buy it, because a lot of beginner flutes are nickel, just nickel. Okay, and then like an intermediate flute would be probably nickel, but silver plated. And then a professional model like mine would be full silver all the way throughout. And just a side note, full silver flutes tarnish like heck. Like, they tarnish like crap. They tarnish all the time. Like, I cannot even describe to you how badly. Like, look at this. See that? All that is tarnish. Like, the Star River logo here on my head joint is tarnished, okay? That just goes to prove you there is a price for it being full silver. I mean, yes, it's great, but I mean, it does come with a price. Like, look at this thing. There's actually, like, a dot where it's completely tarnished. It's ridiculous. So, be careful with that. I'm working on a way to figure out how to remove the tarnish, but I haven't really been successful yet. But I'm working on that. I'll try to get a video out about that if I'm able to come up with a solution to that problem. So, get your head joint. Yours will probably not be full silver if you're a beginner. It shouldn't be full silver if you're a beginner, unless you're a complete tryhard. But I don't even think that they make closed hold C foot joint flutes that have silver head joints. You can buy a silver head joint, but I don't think that they make. That'd have to be something that you'd have to, like, special order, and you probably don't want to do that for your first flute. So, making a sound. You want to feel the bottom outer edge of the hole on the bottom outer edge of your bottom lip. I know there's a lot of bottom outer edges, okay? You just need to think about that. You want to just barely fill the hole right here, okay? I've said that so many times to so many beginners, it's not even funny. So, a lot of people try to actually put their mouth in the hole. Okay, you don't do that. And you don't have to roll the head joint completely in like this. It needs to be out. Just on the bottom outer edge. Okay? And you need to attack each note with two. Okay? Not who, two, or ta. Okay? But whatever you do, get in a habit of tonguing that first, and then we'll work on the slurs and everything else later. So let's just try to make a sound. This is what you're shooting for. Okay? So that's the sound that you're shooting for when you're blowing across the top of your head joint. It's very crucial that you get that down before we move on to anything. It needs to be strong and constant. Try to get it to, I would try for at least 4 counts to begin with. I know that I didn't do it for 4 counts. Here, I'm gonna do it for 4 counts. Okay, that was like 4 counts of just a whole note. Try to do that several times. Get it as strong as you can before you move on. Don't get frustrated with it if you don't get it right off. Now, after you're familiar with your head joint, okay, you can do the Mary Had a Little Lamb thing if you want. I don't really see the point in that because you're not gonna be doing that when you are playing in front of people, so I don't really see the point in trying to learn that. I would go ahead, if you were my student, and I'd just go ahead, put it right in there. Okay, and depending on how your flute tunes, which is something your teacher or your band director needs to go over with, depending on how your flute tunes will depend on how far in you need to push your head joint, okay? My flute is actually a Japanese model. Star River is actually a Japanese company, so Asian flutes are tuned differently than American flutes, so mine is pulled out a little bit more than an American one. But yours probably won't be. If you get like a Gemeinhardt, it won't be out this far. It'll be much closer in, okay? Once you do that, you need to get familiar with the fingerings, where each one of your fingers is supposed to go, okay? Right? And get your band director and whatnot to show you that. Right now in this video, I'm just focusing on the tone quality, picking out a flute and getting a tone, okay? In other videos, I will go through and I'll explain different fingerings for different notes and whatnot, okay? But for right now, we're just focusing on making a sound. So, we're going to attempt to play just a C sharp, okay? I'm going to show you what you're shooting for so you can attempt to play it, right? C sharp is nothing. You don't even have to do the pinky if you don't want to. You don't even have to do that. It's nothing. Let's C sharp. Remember, attack each note with ta, not ha. Okay, so that was C sharp. You can play with nothing, okay? So that's the first note that I would teach, just because, or D flat. Everything with flute is flat, so C sharp and D flat are the same note, and you'll learn all that in time, I promise. But that would be the first note I would teach, just because it's nothing, and it, you know, anybody can do that. So, and then we will focus more on other things later. Make sure that you constantly clean out your flute. You take very good care of it. If there's anything wrong with it, talk to your local music store, music repair shop, and get them to fix it for you, because you need a working flute. Okay? I hope this video has been helpful, and be sure to subscribe to the Woodwinds Unite channel. Peace!